Happy Thursday, folks. It's Talking March Madness time with Miguel and Avery. Avery, Colorado and Grambling State, they're advancing, but let's go with Grambling State first. They rallied from a 14-point deficit to beat
Yeah,
Montana State, 88 to
absolutely.
81.
Absolutely, Miguel. Let's talk about Grambling State. If you want to get into the dance, why not go into overtime in your first game and not only your debut game, but also win? They're the first team to win their debut in the NCAA tournament. And you're correct, erasing a 14-point deficit against Montana State. They kept to the boards, they kept rallying, they acknowledged they had, some difficulties after halftime, but they came together, they sent the game into overtime, and then they just controlled that game for the last few minutes. And congratulations to Grambling State. Granted, now they play Purdue, but I, I'd keep an eye on this. I'd keep an eye on this team. When you pull through from a double-digit deficit, you still have some momentum, and they want to keep that momentum going into the next round. So let's keep an eye on them.
That 11-0 run in the second half was huge. It was very huge for them. Jamel Kofor, he scored all of his 19 points in the second half in overtime. What a clutch player he came through last night for this team. But Grambling State, Purdue, that one is going to be interesting. And this other one, Colorado beating Boise State 60-53. It was a sloppy win, sloppy game. Both offenses were inconsistent all night long, especially from downtown. Colorado outscored Boise State 15-4 in the last 4.5 minutes of the game. Tristan Da Silva, he came up huge with 20 points for Colorado. And now they will play against Florida, which would be another interesting matchup. Colorado and Florida. That's another one I'm keeping an eye on.
You're right, Miguel. The Boise State Colorado game wasn't very pretty. It was you're absolutely right. It was sloppy on both sides. But Colorado, and we mentioned this before in our college football series, when you have schools that one sport is getting a little bit more recognition than the other, the athletic department starts to pull together with the other sports, and then you might see other sports in a more football dominated school start to produce some really interesting things. So seeing Colorado get into the tournament, get into the first four and win, granted the win wasn't pretty, they want to take that momentum and play Florida with a little bit more intensity, a little bit more precision, and that's going to help them hopefully get to the second round. And one thing I do want to say about Colorado and Grambling State, their defense, when needed, helped them out a lot. So look for their defense to possibly help them in their first round matchups.
Yes, that's going to be interesting. Defense, wins championships, but this is only the beginning. So we have to see how they will respond. But obviously, to be Florida, they can't play the sloppy. So they're going to have to clean it up and step it up. Now, today, several games on TV. But I want to talk about two that I want us to give predictions. The first one, McNeese versus Gonzaga. Gonzaga, they've been for a few years now trying to get over the hump. They're the number 5 seed. McNeese's number 12. The Cowboys, the McNeese Cowboys, they've been playing very well these last couple of games, and Gonzaga here and there, but I won't sleep on this Cowboys team either because it's one game. So win, move on. Lose, you're out. So it's not a series. So what are your expectations of this game?
I agree with McNeese being a 12th seed and Gonzaga 5th seed. Usually your 12, 11, 13, 14 seeds they like to play spoiler. You have that really great bracket, and then on day 1 or 2, you have a double-digit seed upset. So even though ESPN is predicting Gonzaga at 77% and then McNeese only about 22, there is some there is some, you know, uh, there are people pulling for the Cowboys. So, this is one where they know what their expectations are, the Cowboys are. And Gonzaga being part of the tournament for a few years for still needing something extra in order to get to the finals. It's gonna be a lot. And like I said before, like you just mentioned, defense. Now Gonzaga, they average about 86 points. McNeese, they average about 81. But when it comes down to their opponent's team, Gonzaga averages 74 points, McNeese 68. So look for McNeese defense to pull a little bit, stay hard on the boards, get those offensive rebounds, take second chances to go to knock off the Bulldogs. However, I'm gonna stick with the analytics on this one, and I'm gonna go for Gonzaga. I'm gonna say Gonzaga by 8.
That's fair enough. Yeah, that's definitely fair enough. I have them by 9, but yeah, definitely that's fair enough. So yeah, I have CBS right now on, so just make sure because it's time, it's March Madness. But to wrap it up, this other game intrigues me. St. Peter's versus Tennessee. Something tells me that one is gonna be a good one. That's why when I texted you earlier this morning, I said, yeah, we gotta go with this one. Oof, that one is a tough one. That's a really tough one.
You're right. You have St.
I'm gonna go with
Peter's.
I'm gonna go with an upset. I'm gonna go with St. Peter's on this one.
You know what? I'm kind of thinking that way too. There's something about these 15 seeds when you're ranked 15, because that was always the magic seed, if you will. You're knocking off a number 2. 9 times out of 10, the number 2 seed either won their conference or they were in the conference final, and they're a powerhouse. The best memory I have of a number 2 seed being upset, I believe, was Villanova. Villanova got upset, I think, about 10 years ago. I can't remember the 15 seed, but they got upset badly. Like they lost by like 15 points. And I think the most recent one was a couple years ago with Virginia as well. Virginia was a number 2 seed and they got upset by a 15 seed. So even though ESPN has Tennessee at 98%, that 2% for St. Peter's is not zero. So St. Peter's, they average 67 points, which is very low, and you have Tennessee averaging at 78. But there's something about the St. Peter's team that they're going to look at the Tennessee Volunteers, and if they think the Tennessee Volunteers are disrespecting them any little bit, they're going to take control. Defense is going to play a key role. We saw it in championship week. We've seen it in these first 4 games. I'm going to go with the upset too, but I'm going to go with the upset for St. Peter's being really close. I'm going to go with St. Peter's by 1.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry about that. I have St. Peter's by 3. Tennessee will miss a game time 3-pointer.
Mm. It's going to be exciting. And as we're recording this, we know a couple of games are going to tip off in 15 or 30 minutes. Thursday being so close to Friday, we're going to have a really great day of games starting right now all the way until 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. So that first round, folks, get your paper brackets, get all your brackets on your app. Myself, I have 12 for the men's tournament. So I know, after maybe by dinner time, either I'm still going to be looking good or it's going to be wild. And honestly, that's why I wore my Stetson. I think today is going to be wild, and we still have other first round games on Friday. So it's going to be interesting. That's why they call it March Madness.
Yes, yes, March Madness. Here we go. Well, everyone, thank you for tuning in on this segment of Talking March Madness with myself, Miguel, and Avery. And enjoy the rest of these games. Let the madness begin, baby.